I used to hawk red flags like gala in traffic, but it didn't always start like that. So when I first met my ex-husband, he came across as this calm, gentle, intentional man. You know, that type that speaks softly and looks at you like you're the missing chapter of his life story. He told me he had seen me years before during Christmas in the village when I was younger, and even said he approached me, but I couldn't remember that bit. And then he had a crush on me ever since. So when we met again years later, according to him, it was like destiny finally answered his prayers. Me, my head was in the clouds already because I'm a lover girl through and through. This man was telling me I was the woman of his dreams, and my foolish romantic self practically removed the hair from my own scalp with excitement. Then he started telling me how badly his ex treated him despite how good he was to her. And me, Captain, save everybody. I said, say no more. I have enough love for both of us. Because to me, it sounded like we wanted the same thing. Partnership, friendship, love. I told this man I wanted the kind of marriage where I'm cooking and you're washing the dishes beside me. Little soft dreams, you know. I even shared vulnerable things with him. We spoke every single day. He was in the UK, I was in Nigeria. Then one day, I didn't hear from him. Morning came and passed. Afternoon came and passed. Night came and passed. So I called to check in if everything was okay. This man picked the call and exploded. If you've ever explained away something your spirit warned you about because you wanted love to work, follow this page because we need to talk about the red flags people romanticize. It's your girl, the TV Shaker, and I'll see you in the next part.
Red flags from my last relationship that I didn't think were red flags, but actually were. The first red flag that I will speak on is definitely love bombing. In the beginning of him and I, he called me and texted me on a daily basis, which I did not think was a strange thing. However, when he would text me, they would be like these long paragraphs of how beautiful I was and how he could see a future with me. And, very lovey-dovey type of things, very romantic. And one of the best examples that I have is one morning I remember I was on my way to my friend's house. Right before I left, he had called me, and my friend's house is a good 20-minute drive. That whole drive, and he was talking about how much he's starting to care about me, how he could see a future with me, how beautiful I was. That whole drive, I didn't get one word in. I remember thinking to myself, wow, this is a lot. But also I was thinking to myself, here is a man that knows exactly what he wants and he's going after it, so how could I fault him? When in fact, this man was love bombing me. The second red flag that I will speak on is just excuses he would make. And the best example I have of excuses, after we got engaged, which was in 2019, I remember him saying to me, we'll get married whenever you want. We've been waiting a long time for this, so we can get married whenever you choose. Now, for context, I did not want something big. I was interested in doing something very small. His friends were trying to convince him we should do something in Dubai, and I had said, let's do something intimate with you and I, and then we can do something big later. So as I'm looking at dates, I find something, we have a conversation, he tells me that date will work. So I make the necessary arrangements, and I want to say about a month before, somebody in his family had gotten sick. Now, I'm not talking regular sick. This man was saying that one of his family members had cancer. So of course, things came to a halt. So we get through that, and now he's like, okay, we can plan again. You can choose the date. So of course, I choose another date. We move forward. A month before that, somebody else in the family gets sick. And as he's telling me these people are getting sick, honestly, I'm not questioning. And yes, I am believing him, because who lies about having cancer? That is a sick, twisted lie. But this man literally lied about people in his family having cancer. Who does that? I'll do a part 2 so I could talk about the other red flags.
I knew he was a red flag, but I ignored. Hi guys, it's story time on how I met someone in my 100 level. Then I think I was around 16 years then. I met someone, I knew he was a red flag, but I ignored every single thing. So let's call this person Mr. K. Mr. K met me when I was doing my clearance in my 100 level. I was running my clearance, then I was still into the system. I haven't really gotten. So I met him in my level coordinator's office. When I met him there, he now told me, hi, how are you doing? I said, fine. He now told me, okay, am I here to do something? I told him, yes. He was a project student then. I think it was in his 400 level then. So he now told me that, okay, that please, that he also wants to meet the level coordinator. Can he go in before me because he's having class by 10? I said, oh, no problem. He can go into the office. So when he went into the office, he finished everything, he came out, he now told me, can he get my number? I told him that I don't give strangers my numbers. He was like, no, I should just give it to him. He already spoke to me, I already know him now. He's no longer a stranger. I said, okay, no problem. I gave him my contact. So that same day in the night, Mr. K chatted me up. He was like, hi, how you doing? I said, oh, I'm fine. That night I was reading because I was still trying to know more about my course. It wasn't the course I wanted. Well, I really did not plan for my course, so I was still trying to know more about the course I was reading and all that. So he chatted me up. He was like, how you doing, Vicky? I said, oh, I'm fine. We spoke a bit. Then the next thing he told me, would you mind to come to my house tomorrow? I was like, oh, where's your house? He now told me, oh, his house is around maybe like that. I said, oh, no, I can't come to your house. If you want to see me on a date, you either go on a date with me. Mind you, I was still 16 years. I was like, you either go on a date with me or maybe you take me out, we talk, but I cannot come to your house because I'm still getting to know you. He said, okay. Then we started talking for like a week or 2 weeks. Tell me why after 2 weeks of talking to this person started becoming sexual. Like, why will you be telling me nasty things? Stupid talk. But I still ignored it. I was like, maybe I'm just still trying to get to know him too. Maybe he's just trying to like balance everything with me because he's still trying to know me. But I knew this guy was a red flag from the beginning. Why will you tell me after a day of meeting me, telling me to come to your house? Mind you, the reason why I kept on talking to this person was because I just needed like a male figure I can be talking to. You know, I was still very, very young. I just needed like someone I can be talking to just to keep me company and all that. Though I didn't tell him my age. When he asked me my age, I think I told him I was 18. Yeah, I told him I was 18 years then. So while we're talking, like a month later, he now told me, oh, he really likes me, he wants me to be his girlfriend. And I think that's one of my turn off in a guy. I would just meet him after a month, he'll be asking me out. I told him that, oh no, I'm still new in the university system. I don't want to be distracted. I want to be so focused, so I cannot date him. That's what I told him. Then he said, oh, okay, no problem. So after a week when he asked me out, he now told me that, oh, can he just go on a date with me, like a harmless date? We should just go out. I was like, okay, where are we going to? Then he told me that we should go to a hotel. A hotel. I'm like, okay, what are we going to go and do in the hotel? They're like, no, this hotel has swimming pool there and all that. So we're going to go in the evening. If we go there in the evening, then I don't really think there are hotels that allow people stay in their swimming pool in the evening. But like, if we go there in the evening, when it's now late in the night, we could just lodge. Then maybe in the morning I'll come back to my house. That was another red flag I ignored. But I just told him, oh no, I don't go to hotels, I don't go out. I'm an introvert. So anything that I want to do, if it's not itchy or anywhere, I won't go. Long story short, I finally went on a date with this person. Not really a date, but we just went to one each very close to my side like that. So while we were eating, vibing, he now asked me a question. He was like, no, not really a question. He said something. He was like, he don't spend his money on things that are not valuable to him. It's either I choose being valuable to him or not. I was like, oh, I don't understand what you're saying. He asked me out a week ago. I refused, and now currently I'm going out on a date with him. What is the impression I'm giving to him? My body went cold instantly. I was like, I just thought we were just normal friends now. That kind of, we are just friends. So what are you saying? He now said no. That is either I choose being valuable to him or not. Nobody told me. That was the last time I spoke to this person. I chatted this person up. I had anything to do with this person. I blocked him instantly. And now I don't know, maybe he's even done with school or what. I don't know anything about him. That's the end of the story. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name is Saber, and when I was 19 years old, my high school sweetheart tried to end both of our lives, and I don't want to talk about that situation specifically. It is a very traumatic one, but leading up to it, there were a lot of red flags that I didn't know to look for because, you don't know until you know, and I think it's important that young girls know what to look for, so I wanted to make a video on the red flags that I personally ignored. The relationship started out pretty normal, except that I guess he had been stalking me for quite some time. I'm the one who talked to him, but when I did, he was like, I had been walking in front of you before lunch for days and days trying to get your attention, and you never noticed. He wasn't in my grade, so I had never seen him before. He was above me. But he asked me out, and he was a very kind boyfriend, I thought. He was very possessive, very, very scarily obsessed with me. He would write me like love letters, both on paper, on my Facebook wall, in like my messages, my text messages. He would leave me voicemails. He was very, very, very in love with me, and I really, really liked that. That made me feel very special after feeling ugly my whole life. Also, I want to add that I was like a shy, awkward, not a conventionally attractive kid either. So it's like this boy who was very attractive, he was an attractive boy, found me attractive. Like that really gave me this boost of confidence, and I was very, very surprised he liked me. But looking back, it makes sense that he picked a very meek, shy, awkward girl who wasn't going to fight back. Right away, he was very controlling of everything that I did. He used to tell me that I couldn't wear makeup and I couldn't dye my hair, and he didn't like girls who did that, and they all looked trashy. And his girlfriend wasn't going to look trashy. She was going to look classy. And I just accepted that because that's something that I thought was normal, that men just tell you what they like and you just do it. Don't know why I thought that. He also did drugs. He smoked weed or whatever in high school, and he was very adamant that I was never allowed to do drugs or drink or go to parties or anything like that. And I know you're like, why would you listen to him? You're you have bodily autonomy. But especially, like, he chose the right girl, especially back then, like, in high school, all you want is to be loved. All you want is attention. You don't care how you get it. There was one instance when we were in a library, a public library, and he wanted to see what people would do as a social experiment if he was, like, being threatening or aggressive to me. And he did, like, yank me around, and he was like, come here. Like, I don't know why I let him do that to me, but it was a weird thing. And I was like, this guy is being weird right now. But we had already been together for, like, 6 or 8 months at that point, so I was like, whatever, dude. And nobody helped me. Nobody thought to, like, intervene or anything. It was a public library. Lots of people were there. Lots of people saw him, like, yank me by my, like, backpack and, like, drag me out of the door, and they didn't say anything. And he was like, that's crazy. Nobody would intervene. Looking back, that's a huge red flag. Why would I let him do that? I don't know. And he was always giving me so much love, and then he would take it away for days. He would shower me with love, with gifts, with, like, letters, with everything, with attention. And then he would go silent for 2+ days, and he wouldn't talk to me, and then I would just be begging him and texting him and calling him and like, please, what did I do? What did I do? Did I do something wrong? I miss you. I love you, please. And then he would just come back and be like, I just needed a couple days. Is that okay with you? I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sorry. I'm being crazy, aren't I? And he's like, yeah, you're being crazy. Like, I didn't realize that, like, I don't know, that's a manipulation tactic, and that it's not normal to go silent for days. Communication is key. If you want to go silent for days, that's fine. But to not tell your partner and to leave them, like, begging for your attention is very manipulative and abusive. There was another time where I used to have, like, male friends in high school, everything platonic. I was in love with this boy. I would have never talked to anyone else. But I had one friend who was a lot taller than me. He gave me a hug, and it lifted me off of my feet for a second. I didn't think anything of it. It literally was a blip in my memory. And then after school that day, I saw my boyfriend, because he had already graduated, because he was older than me. He was storming up to the high school because he lived across the street. And I thought he was coming to pick me up. I was like, oh, what a great surprise. My boyfriend's here. But he singled out the guy because he was standing outside with me because we were both car riders. And he, like, grabbed him by his collar and, like, started threatening him. And this is a grown adult at this point. And this kid that he was threatening was a year younger than me, so 2 years younger than him. And he's, like, threatening him. He's like, I heard you touched my girlfriend today. I heard you picked her up, blah, blah, blah. And I thought that was so hot, dude. I was like, ooh, aggressive. He really loves me. He really wants me. Obviously, I, like, didn't think it was cool that he was being so mean to my friend. But I was like, that is kind of hot. It's not. That's a red flag. He was very possessive over me. And the fact that he even knew that happened was crazy to me, because I hadn't thought about it until after I went home that day. And I was like, somebody told him. And I'm like, is he having his friends look at what I'm doing during the school day? That's crazy. Because, like, this is back in the day. There's no way he's, like, spying on me with some sort of technology other than people. So he's just asking people what I'm doing. He's just keeping tabs on me. And he treated me poorly for, like, a whole week after that. He didn't talk to me for days. And when I was, like, telling him I loved him, he was like, I don't really love you that much. What? Very, very, all red flags, obviously, no. And I gotta say this, the toxic level of jealousness that is not attractive. That is not something that you should be looking for or should be romanticizing. It's not funny. It's not cute. I don't think, like, nowadays, if there was a man that was that obsessed with me that he would be this crazy, I would leave him immediately, because that is a bad sign. This boy we would be driving on the highway, and some guy would look at me, not even intentionally, probably just changing lanes, but he would make eye contact with me in the passenger seat. And I remember this one time, he literally chased these 2 men in a work truck all the way down to wherever they were working. He hopped out of the car. He was trying to fight these men. So he was like, you're staring at my girlfriend. And they were like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Genuinely, they didn't stare at me. I don't know what he was talking about, but he was insanely obsessed with me. But even after that, I was like, that was kind of hot. Ditzy, stupid. Right before the abuse started, we had just moved into an apartment across town. We had been together about 3-ish years. He had proposed. I said, no, I want that noted. But he had proposed to me, bought me a ring. We moved in together, and I really wanted a cat. I am a cat lady. I love kittens. And I kept asking him, can we get a cat? And he kept saying no. And I'm like, you know what? I'm an adult at this point. I am 18. I pay rent here. I'm allowed to get a cat if I want a cat. So I went and I got a cat off of Craigslist, and I brought it home, and it was a little tiny kitten. And he came home that day and lost his mind. I've never seen him like that. His eyes, like, turned black, and he literally threw the kitten against the wall. I called the cops. I was so upset. I obviously kicked him out. I was, like, not okay with it. He worked his way back in, because that's what abusers do. But he said that he was very sorry, and that he just thought the cat was going to take me away from him, that the cat was taking too much attention from me. As soon as he saw how much I loved the cat had to go. Which is terrifying, because what if we had a kid? What if I had gotten pregnant in that 3.5 years? But I did let him back in because he started therapy. He promised to go to anger management. I still had the cat. The cat was okay. I took him to the vet. Like, no broken bones or anything. He didn't throw him that hard, but it was just like the fact that he tossed the kitten like really upset me, obviously, as it should, but I still let him back in, and that's my own fault. He never hurt the cat again, I want that noted, but he did start hurting me very badly, to the point where he went to jail for the things he did to me in that apartment, and he tried to end both of our lives. But there were so many things leading up to that could have been like, Saber, this is not okay. This is not normal. But I didn't talk to anyone about those things in my relationship because I was embarrassed a little bit. I didn't want to be told that these were wrong things. I was in love with this boy too. Nobody could tell me that he was the wrong guy. Even after I got a restraining order, I was still trying to see him because that's what abuse does to your brain. Especially after years and years of it. We were high school sweethearts and we moved out together. But I do think had I known in the early stages, I would have just broken it off then. And after that relationship, I started being more careful about who I was talking to. And if there was even a little red flag, anything that even stood out a little bit that was like, this guy could be an abuser in the future, I just cut him off, block him, no thoughts, because there's no reason to even start that relationship if I think that there's a possibility. Anyway, I don't know if that's helpful to anyone, but I hope it is. You should all stay safe out there. Anyone can be an abuser, women and men. Just watch for the red flags.
Hi, so today I want to talk about the red flags I ignored at the beginning of my narcissistic relationship. Mind you, before this time, I had never experienced any sort of abuse in a relationship, maybe because I haven't been in much, but I had never experienced an abusive partner, and I had absolutely no knowledge about narcissism or who a narcissist is. But the first thing would definitely have to be the love bombing. Like, trust me, I don't know how I missed this, but maybe it's because I was seeing someone at the time. That's how bad and persistent this man was. He didn't care that I was seeing someone. He totally acted like the person I was seeing was completely invincible or non-existent. He pretended like he never saw him. And for every time he saw me with this person, for every time he saw me, I was with this person. And when I'm telling you that it was months of love bombing, this man was ready to wait. In fact, I think what I fell for was the consistency. He was ready to wait for months for me to stop seeing the other person, and he was consistent. He never stopped. He acted like a man that was trying to get me and I was single. He didn't mind sending me gifts. He didn't mind trying to send me money. He would even use the most random means to try to get to me. He would lie. He lied about a lot of things that period that I got to find out that was actually a lie. Just to get my attention. He pretended, in fact, he mirrored the person I was seeing. He mirrored the person I was seeing while pretending to not see that person. He was trying to do everything that person did to get my attention. This man was the creepiest person I have ever met. And this is something that persisted during the course of our relationship. But I didn't even realize that it has been there from day one. He always followed me. He always stalked me. Right from when he was trying to get my attention. At some point, I even thought he lived around the area, only for me to find out that this man only came there because of me. And I thought it was a coincidence that we were just seeing each other at places. I never knew that this man was stalking me. He was following me around right from the first day he set his eyes on me. Right from the very first day this man set his eyes on me, he never stopped chasing until he got my attention. It took months, but he was ready to wait. Now, that's another thing with narcissists, like Puff Diddy, as I always use as an example. They love what is not theirs. They just love that idea of stealing from someone. Because normally when they are with you, they will steal your joy, they will steal your peace. They are thieves. So they also love the idea of stealing someone's girl, like having the mind that you're someone's girl and they got you. I feel like that was the thrill for him when he first met me. He was thrilled that somebody else had me and he wanted to get me from that person. This man will use the most ridiculous means to get to me. And that is another way to, it felt like a movie. He was this perfect guy in the area that was nice to kids. He would dash random children money. He would even use a small boy. Like, let me tell you what he would do. He will groom this child for like 2 weeks. Every day he's coming around, giving this child small change here and there. And then he's patient though. He's not in a hurry. 2 weeks later, he will call that same child and give him a bunch of money to come and give to me. And then he will call me and he will be like, no, I just want you to have it for yourself. I just want you to do something nice for yourself since you don't want to see me. Never for once during this period did I ask this man for money. Let me also tell you something that he did. After we broke up, or after I broke up with him, this man started spreading rumors as usual, their smear campaign, saying that for the first time he met me, he used to give me money every day of my life and I could never save. He used to give me so much money, but I could never save, like to prove how useless and stupid I am. There's nothing he didn't call me a thief. So this is somebody that went from being perfect. This man did everything that I liked. He tried to do everything that I liked, everything that he thought that I liked. He would always randomly invite me to the beach because he knew I liked the beach. He had seen my aesthetics. He had seen pictures of me on my Instagram at the time. So he knew I liked the beach. He acted like he was a sucker for the beach. Just so you know, when I met this man, he had an afro. He didn't have locks. He locked his hair because of me. He acted like that was just the kind of person he is. He's just an earthy guy. This man locked his hair because of me. He started wearing earthy things because of me. He mirrored me, literally. And guess what? All this was still the period where we hadn't even gotten together. This man even made friends with some lady that had a store around the area at the time, just so he could be using that opportunity to monitor me. I would randomly come out. I would see this man sitting in that woman's shop. The woman started liking him from him coming there every time. And guess what? He was fucking this lady the period while waiting for me to get my attention. And a billion others do, but that's to show you how a narcissist minds work. As much as they are very lustful people, once they see anybody to feed their ego, anybody that they feel like is a potential victim or slave, they will take advantage of you. You don't have to be their type. A narcissist doesn't even have a type. Their type is anybody that is willing to feed their ego and control. So trust me, the love bombing was insane. And if you ever find yourself in a position where somebody is actually love bombing you, you should know what love bombing feels like. Because before then, looking back, I had never experienced love bombing before. Every other relationship or situationship I had experienced was organic. We started talking bit by bit. It didn't start off directly as like or feelings. But from the moment this man met me, he made it look like he was obsessed with me. I was destined for him. He saw me in his dreams and he couldn't let go. Like, that's all he made his existence about, chasing me. This man will even buy food for me and the person I was seeing at the time. He will be coming back from where he's coming from. He'll be like, oh, that he just stopped somewhere to get a few things, that please I should come and get it. He would literally put the other person's mouth. That's how bad it was. And another thing that they will use to fool you is because that period, this man didn't act like he wanted sex or that was his problem. Of course, he was getting it from a billion other people. So if you were not willing to give them, they will wait. So he didn't act like that's what he wanted at the time. As a matter of fact, he acted like that was the last thing on his mind because he never brought it up. He never even made it look like he was physically attracted to me. He acted like he was attracted to my soul. He acted like he was attracted to my spirit and it was not about my body or my looks or what he saw. He acted like that was the last thing on his mind and what he was attracted to was what he saw on the inside. Like he was a very spiritual person and he was attracted to my soul and my spirit and it was never about my body or my physical. And you see, those subtle little acts are the kind of things that make you fall for them because you feel like they are not lustful. When, as a matter of fact, they are the worst and the most lustful human beings you would ever meet. So the second red flag I ignored was jealousy framed as protection. This man started getting jealous over me way too early. As a matter of fact, while I was still seeing the other person, I was shocked. Like, he made it look like he was just concerned about me. And this is one funny thing he did. Because he knew I was seeing someone else, he was able to hold himself from being jealous over the person I was seeing. But he was jealous over every other person. Because he felt like, how dare me when he's there. Even if it's 5 minutes we spend together, he's trying to look into my phone to see what I'm doing or who I'm talking to. If my phone beeps, he's more concerned about my phone beeping than me, the owner of the phone. Bear in mind that this man checked my phone with and without my knowledge throughout the course of our relationship. But you know what he will not tolerate? Me checking his phone. For every time I checked his phone, he always turned into a serious fight where he either almost beat me up or asked me to leave the house or locked me outside the house. And that's another thing that I got to find out. That was their way of acting when they are caught. A narcissist hates to be caught in the act. So instead of them to be accountable, they will flip the script and act like you're the offender. So in that moment, when he has locked me outside because I checked his phone or something, I would no longer be worried about what I saw on his phone. My own concern now is that I'm locked outside. And of course, you know you can't check their phone without seeing something, except from the times where they are smart enough to delete it. But that's by the way. He was jealous over me way too early. This is somebody that didn't tolerate any form of jealousy from me. He made me act like I was crazy and paranoid and a possessive, sick girlfriend. Meanwhile, it was okay for him to do it. Double.
I once dated a guy who seemed to love me so much. If someone hurt my feelings, he would instantly hate them too. At first, I thought, wow, he has my back. But then I started paying attention. I noticed he was rude to waiters, dismissive to strangers, and unkind to people he had nothing to gain from. And it made me realize something. Being kind to me alone wasn't enough. And yes, your partner should treat you specially, but they should also have basic kindness and empathy towards other people. Because if someone is only good to you and terrible to everyone else, that might not be love. That might just be an act to impress you. Pay attention to how they treat people who can't do anything for them. That tells you a lot about their character than how they treat you. Tell me in the comments, have you ever experienced this? Until my next one, guys. Bye.
Okay, story time. Tell me if I'm wrong, right? So
All right, so boom, it's time to clock in. I'm gonna do the story time for her because she's boohoo crying. So she starts off the story saying that she was dating this guy for a year, and then one day out of the blue, he just asks, "Hey, do you want to be my girlfriend?" And at first she says no, but then she caves in, and she eventually says yes. They kicking it or whatever, and then some weeks go by, and she ends up finding out that his ex is living with his mom. But the ex is pregnant. So she had asked him, like, yo, is that your baby? Like, that's weird. Why is she with your mother? And he swore up and down that that was not his baby. She has no one. So that's just why she's over there. One day she gets his phone. She sees pictures of him kissing on the girl's belly. So she asks him again, like, are you sure this is not your baby? He says no. Then she gets a call like weeks later. And the mom asked her, like, hey, what would you do if my son had a kid? And she basically says, listen, I'm not going to deal with your son no more. They hang up the phone. In her gut, she was staying in the relationship because she truly loves the man. However, she said that the signs were there. She really felt like the relationship was going downhill. It was not the same. So she ended up communicating this to him, saying, I don't think we're in a good place right now. And she wants to call it quits. Why did this man decide to say, y'all, okay, being that we're over, I'm going to spend some time with my son? Whole time, y'all, the kid that he swore up and down was not his, literally was his kid. My name is Dime, and here's my 2 cents. Ladies, if it's one thing we need to do as a collective is trust our gut and our intuition. I swear it be telling us, and sometimes we just let the red flags cloud our judgment, and we cannot fall victim to that. I know completely how it feels to love a man so much that you lose sight of everything and you ignore the red flags. However, I feel like that can be very damaging to self. So my advice is to just cry it all out now, but never go back to that man. He's some men out there that really are low down dirty dogs, and they really just be playing. And I swear to God, I hate that so much. Y'all text me in the comments. Do you think she's wrong in this situation? Let me know.
If you ever feel stupid, just remember that when I was much younger, I dated this guy who had me and a girl he was dating in his car at the same time whilst he spoke to his main girlfriend on loudspeaker in his car. This same guy also dated two of my friends. I wouldn't say we're close or anything, but they were girls I went to the same secondary school with. And he dated us in succession, and none of us found out till the very end. And then eventually he proposed to the girl that he was on loudspeaker with. And then when I found out, this guy had the guts to tell me that he made a promise to his dead grandma that he was going to marry that girl. At a point in that relationship, even before I found out that he was cheating, one of his friends took me out for dinner and then told me that, oh, if you have plans of dating somebody else, do, because my friend is not taking you anywhere. Guess what I did? I went to tell my boyfriend that this is what this person said about you, so he's not your friend. And even before the day that he was on loudspeaker with the girl, with the other girl in the car, I used to go to work with him. We used to go to work together, and we didn't work at the same office, but we used to work in the same like vicinity. So on our way to work each day, how he got away with speaking to this girl every day on phone was because he had told me that that was his favorite cousin, and on our way to work each day, he would call her and then mention her whole government's name. So for the purposes of this story, let's say her name was Linda Sewakoto. Hey, that's the name of somebody I went to school with, oh, but that's not her. So he would mention the whole name. Linda Sewakoto, my sweet cousin, how are you doing this fine morning? And then they will proceed to have the most casual conversation. Thing is that I never suspected that there was anything going on. And even if I did, I didn't think anybody had the guts to talk to another girl on loudspeaker whilst another girl was there. You get my drift? Yes. So I did not suspect it till the day that we went to pick the other girl. So before we got to the other girl's house, he had told me that, oh, there's this girl who has asked for a lift, and this girl is sort of moving to him, and he doesn't like it, but he's trying to be a gentleman and has to help her out. So me, by the time we got to the girl's house, I had already found my face, because if you know women, we are very territorial. And I believe that he had told her a similar story. So even before she got into the car, she was already angry. When she sat in the car, she didn't greet anybody. And then we went on our way. He made the same call he's been making at this point for months now, and then proceeded to have the most casual conversation. If I tell you how smooth of an operator this guy was, you will not believe it. I'll not tell you guys how I found out, but then eventually at the end of the relationship, I found out that that was a girl he was with, and then the girl on the loudspeaker was the main girlfriend, and then I was also a side chick. If you guys want to know the story of how he dated, I found out he was dating two girls I went to the same secondary school with. Just let me know.
Red flags I ignored because I thought they meant he loved me. The truth is, most of the time, it doesn't start with violence. It starts with things that look like love. For me, the red flags were not obvious. They look like concern, passion. You see, like you can't get enough of me until they weren't. Number one, the constant calls. Not because something was wrong, but because somebody needed to know where I was, who I was with, what I was doing every minute. Two, the isolation. Slowly, conversations about my friends became a problem. Plans with other people became arguments. Before I realized it, I was spending less time with the people who knew me best and people I enjoyed hanging out with. The obsession. What felt flattering at first started to feel suffocating. Every decision, interaction, every moment, something needed to be monitored or managed. The manipulation. Every boundary became evidence that I didn't care enough. Every attempt to create space or I wanting space became a reason for guilt. So I'm currently editing this video and I have remembered another major one. Invasion of privacy. Wanting to go through your journal, wanting to go through your phone, and it's presented as wanting proof, wanting reassurance, wanting honesty, but it's just control. Some red flags literally do arrive disguised as love, passion, or even commitment. And that's why conversations about relationship violence and femicide matter. Because before situations become dangerous, there are often patterns many of us have been taught to romanticize. I'm creating awareness, not because I am victim blaming, but because I want to help people to recognize unhealthy patterns early enough to protect themselves.
As a woman in her later 20s that's been dating for some time now, I have finally realized how important it is to listen to what a man is telling you and to decipher what he means, right? Because back in the day, I would just see someone attractive, instantly start liking them, and that is the backwards way of dating, okay? And let me tell you why. I'm gonna give you an example. So I just started getting to know this guy like a week ago. And once again, when a man and you are getting to know each other, it's so important to open your ears and close your lips, okay? Because they will tell you everything you need to know if you're really paying attention, especially when they go on unsolicited rants. But back to what had happened. This man that I was getting to know decided to go on an unsolicited rant about how women that grow up without fathers in the home tend to not know how to treat a man. They tend to only look at men for money. They tend to not know how to act like a lady, because he felt like fathers are supposed to teach daughters how to act like a lady, and a woman who grows up without a father does not know how to act like a lady. It was a whole rant. I mean, he was going on and on and on and on. And I was silent. See, a lot of the times, us women, we like to get our emotions involved with people that we just met, and we'll try to prove ourselves and this and the third. More times than not, it's better to just remain silent and listen. So I was listening, completely silent. And hey, if you got to put yourself on mute, do it. So I'm completely silent as he goes on this unsolicited rant. Keep in mind, I grew up with my father in the home. My father's been in my life all my life. So this was not a personal shot at me. But for him to go on such a rant just about women in general, just listen. So he's saying all this stuff. I'm silent. He finally comes to an end point. And all I said to him in response was, "So I'm assuming you grew up with your father in the home." And his response was no. Ladies, a lot of these men are looking to put women down because they're projecting. How can you have so much to say about a woman growing up without her father when you're a man that grew up without your father? And if I was emotional about the conversation, I could have came back with, "Oh, well, you're pretty sassy, so that must be because you didn't grow up without your father." You know, I could have said something along those lines, but that wouldn't have done me any good, right? Because clearly this man is hurting. I don't want no parts of that. I'd rather just excuse myself. Mind you, this is not the only thing that he said that was a red flag to me. There are other things that he said that makes me not want to get to know him anymore, but that is definitely something that stood out to me because, I mean, he just had so much passion. And once again, like I said, it was unsolicited. Like, I didn't ask him for his opinion on women that grew up without fathers or anything like that. I don't even know how the conversation came about, honestly. Just wait till they start going on their unsolicited rant, and that's going to show you who they really are.
There's a few red flags that I ignored in my relationship that just ended, where I got broken up with the day before my birthday while I was engaged. Great fun. Okay. One of the things that I realized was when we would go out to dinner with his friends, he would usually pick up the bill. When we would go out to dinner with my friends, however, we would be arguing about who's paying the bill. And I don't remember this adding up as a pattern. The friends that I've met from his side are like, yeah, he always does pay for the bill. And then the friends that I have from my side are always like, yeah, you guys are always arguing about who's paying. And I'm like, why did I not catch on to this before? Obviously, when you're in a long-term relationship, it's normal for like both people to be financially contributing to it. But we're also talking about someone who made a lot more money than I do. If you want me to pay, if we need to talk about who's paying, like that can be a private conversation and not in front of other people. It was very awkward in those moments when that would happen. So another thing was stonewalling. And by stonewalling, I mean when I was upset and it would be before bed, I would be like, you know, crying in bed. And he would hear me crying and not do anything about it. And this was something that I actually did notice before the breakup, and I did bring it up to him. And it was always like, oh, well, we just need space. Or like, oh, we can talk about this later. Or that I was being too dramatic or sensitive or whatever. And my favorite was that he would say, "I'm not going to baby you," when I would just ask for like someone to listen to my feelings and have empathy for what I'm telling them is upsetting me. Because those are my feelings. So we obviously have 1, definitely pay attention to how people deal with finances and believe them the first time. 2, pay attention to how people treat you when you're upset and don't make excuses for them if they are not showing you basic human empathy. I think the third reason I would like to give is the excuse of, well, I'm not going to tell you how I feel because you're hard to tell things to. Okay, so when you tell someone something, you are only responsible for what you told them and how you handled the situation. They are responsible for their reaction. So in this situation, I am responsible for my reaction to what you're telling me. But if you decide not to tell me how you feel, when I only find out after the fact, when like the damage is done, you're pulling away, like that's not communication. Pay attention to how people communicate when they have problems that they want to bring up. If they beat around the bush and don't actually tell you what's truly wrong and you notice that something is still wrong, you're going to find out after they've already decided that they're done. And you need to believe people when they do that the first time. A lot of times these people will realize, oh, I actually, I did kind of make a rash decision. And like after talking with this person, what they're saying makes sense because I shared my feelings finally. Imagine that. You reach some sort of resolution and the cycle repeats. If you let it. Don't let the cycle repeat. Believe who people are the first time they tell you, and you will avoid a situation like mine. Although I will say,
This has done great things for me in my life. It has also been one of the hardest things I've ever gone through. If actually the hardest thing I've ever gone through. I don't know. I've learned a lot. I'm still learning a lot. And I'm just trying to share my experience so that other people can learn from my decisions and hopefully not make the same ones.
Today we're going to be talking about the one time I ignored a red flag and instantly regretted it. Y'all, this primer is so tea, like, what the fuck? This was my first time being a third party in a relationship, which had never happened to little old me. I be wanting fairy tale love so bad, and every time it's just like, psych. Me and this boy had met on Instagram. It's always Instagram. And basically we were talking for like a minute or whatever, and then basically I had this one homegirl and I was telling her, I was like, this my little wooty woo. She was like, I was like, because when you show your friend a picture of somebody and they like gasp or have a certain reaction, it's just like, what you know that I don't know? And she's like, oh, I know him. I'm like, how do you know him? And she's like, oh, one of my old friends used to date him, like be in like a long-term relationship. So I'm doing my research. I'm looking at what she's showing me. I'm talking about they went to prom together. They were like madly in love, basically. This was like his first love. So time goes on, mind you. I should have seen the red flag when he literally told me when we first started talking. He was like, oh, I just got out of a relationship. Like, she still comes over to my house because her and my mom are still close. So like, yeah, like basically already warning me. And my little young ass, because at the same time he was leading me on, y'all. And I actually kind of liked him. Well, I thought I liked him. And so he's basically warning me like, hey, I'm gonna be hanging out with her. But I didn't really think he was for real, because what? So he's basically telling me that that's still his little shit. My oblivious self was like, oh, okay, la-di-da-di-da, whatever. I was such a sucker for sweet talk back then. So time forward, like maybe a week later, I'm asking my friend, I'm like, because I noticed his vibe was off. I'm like, let me see the girl's account again. And so she goes to her account and we're going through the highlights, right? And on her highlights, we see some flowers. And I'm like, wait, these flowers look very familiar. I go to his spam account, I go to his highlights, and he's posting the same flowers except they're in his passenger seat. I'm like, oh, if 1 + 1 is 2, then what the fuck is this? Not only that, we continue to scroll through the highlights, and there's literally a picture of her in his restroom. I asked this man about the post. He's like, oh, it's old. That was a while ago. Mind you, I literally see the timestamps. So I think I literally just ignored this and went on about my business. Because at this point, we're not together. So like, he still obviously BS, and I was bullshitting a little bit, but he was taking it to another level. He thought he was bigger than the program, and not. Time goes on. He's still sweet talking me. Boom. We finally see each other for the first time. Y'all, why did I buy this man a $70 jacket? And we had only met each other that one time. He literally met me to come pick up the jacket. Oh my god, I cannot believe I'm admitting that. That's like something you don't tell a soul. But y'all, I used to be so down bad. And then to really set the tone of his vibe, I'm gonna describe him. He was one of those like broad wave listening, huncho, like sad, depressed type of vibes. Not saying just because he listened to raw wave he was sad, but like, you know, he was definitely one of them. Like, he used to be venting to me and all this extra stuff, but I don't know, it was just weird. Like, and he was also like a fake gangbanger. Like, he would low-key be trying to post like some gangster stuff, but he was literally from the suburbs and came from a very nice house with very nice parents. So I was a little confused on that. Yeah, he was just weird. He was also a nigga with a clothing brand. It's always the niggas with the clothing brands, y'all. He was one of them. So, like, that's kind of a description of the type of aesthetic that this man gave off. I should have known. That should have really been the very first one. I've always been one to ignore red flags, unfortunately. Like, now that I think about it, like, we need to stand up as a union, y'all. Because why was I ignoring them red flags from the jump? And then I remember at one time, like, he had went to a game, y'all. Going to games without telling your girls back in the days was like, that was like, is you cool? And that's basically what he did. He went to a game and he didn't even tell me. Like, the location was off. He was like, oh, I was out. I was busy. Man, y'all didn't hear for this nigga all the names. I'm like, oh, I know he crushing. Mind you, while he was at the game, this was when, like, people were coming back from college. And his ex was a grade older than him. So, oh, baby, I was distraught. I don't know why I really thought this was my man. I don't know what I was thinking. Fast forward, y'all, it's literally Christmas time. Again, they're back from college. Y'all, why does my homegirl who's on his account literally send me a picture from the girl's account, the actual ex? Y'all are probably seeing how this story is about to go. But y'all, look how good this concealer is blending in. It's literally a picture of her. Ugh, it's so bad, y'all. It's a picture of her booty tooted up on the scene, him holding the booty with their clothing brand. That's the first picture. There's another. The second picture is of him standing up and her like on her knees, like hand up on his chest. Y'all just I'm gonna let y'all imagine it. Like how y'all are imagining right now, that's how bad it was. I said, ooh. And then not only that, another picture of her literally doing his hair, her like retwisting his dress or whatever, and the captions, all he wanna do is sit in between my legs, laughing emoji. I was like, oh, she must know. I'm like, she must know. Because what? Y'all, I was too through. I sent it to him. I was like, oh, mind you, it's literally Christmas Eve. Like, I sent that to him. I'm like, what the actual fuck? And he was like, literally, he really did not even care. He was like, I'm so sorry. My intentions were not to hurt you. Like, honestly, like, he really didn't give a fuck. I'm not gonna lie. When he sent the message, I was like, oh, he gives no fucks at all. And yeah, basically, that's really it. Like, I should have known from the very first red flags. He had a clothing brand. I'm sorry, that's being stereotypical, but he had a clothing brand. He told me that he was still, like, in contact with his ex. And, like, I'm not gonna lie, now that I think about it, he was always talking about his ex on the phone. Like, he was. And I was just like, la-di-da-di-da-di-da. This bass. Anyways, my track record needs to be studied. Like, ASAP. Moral of the story, recognize these niggas for who they show you that they is instead of looking at potential. Because it's going to take you a lot farther in life, mamas. Anyways, this is the final look.
So this video is for my ladies. If you're a guy, keep scrolling. And if you want to stay, fine, stay. This is a 10 red flags in dating that I personally ignored and I fucking regret it. Okay? So please learn from my mistakes. Red flag number 1. If you're on a first date and if a guy asks you about your body count, he doesn't see you as a person. He sees you as an object. He wants to see how used up you are. And if you have more than 5 body count, then you are a whore. And he will treat you accordingly. Like, I'm okay with talking about body count sometime in the future when it just comes up in conversations, but on a first date, red flag. Number 2, they will cancel date last minute and then they will try to reschedule it on a short notice to see how desperate you are, to see if you are just sitting around and waiting for him or you have other plans, other options, etc. Number 3, he is gonna rush you into everything. On a first date, he's gonna tell you that you guys are meant to be together, like God sent you to him specifically. In a week, he's gonna tell you that he's in love with you. In a couple weeks, he's gonna talk about moving in together. In a month, he's gonna talk about marriage and so that you should meet their family, etc., etc. Number 4, they talk about their ex a lot. Positively, negatively, doesn't matter. They still have some feelings. They think about their ex a lot, red flag. Number 5, they're in touch with their exes. They're sending each other happy birthday texts, holiday texts. He's basically keeping her as a backup plan. And if it doesn't work out, then he's gonna go back to her. Or maybe she's the one who break up with him. So he's hoping, just waiting for her to come back to him. Yeah, red flag. So number 6, he will break up with you before major holidays and your birthday because he doesn't want to spend money. He doesn't want to invest in you because he doesn't see you as a future material. He doesn't see you in his future, or he's super cheap. Number 7, he talks about his mother very poorly. He fights with her in front of you, calls her names, etc. Big red flag. Anyway, number 8, he doesn't want to be seen with you in public. He wants to only hang out at his place or your place. Guys, when they are proud to be with you, they want to show off. So them hiding you, it means that you are not that attractive to him. He doesn't like you. Number 9, he contacts you only on the weekends or at night because you are the booty call, the fun time girl. The girl that he contacts when he's horny. Number 10, he is super sexual from the get-go. You barely know him and he's asking you nudes. If all of the conversation somehow ends up around being sexual, naked, etc., it's a very huge red flag because, first of all, he's a whore. Number 2, he's trying to use your body. And 3, he doesn't see you as a relationship material. He just wants to hook up with you. That's it. Actually, bonus point, number 11. If it's so easy to trigger him, if after just a small fight, small arguments, he brings up all of the things, nasty things that you told him in secrecy, he starts screaming, throwing things, driving like crazy, it's a huge red flag. Run the other way, because that person eventually will turn into an abuser, like physical, otherwise they're gonna turn into to abuser. So run the other way.
I dated a Congolese man once, and one thing healing forced me to admit as a mother is this: the first time a man or his family speak badly on your children, you should leave. Not explain it away, not wait for a change, not stay because he treats you well. You should leave. And honestly, that truth broke my heart to accept. Because honestly, this man had certain good qualities about himself. He was soft-spoken, attentive, protective in certain ways. And when you're a woman who loves deeply, sometimes you hold on to the good parts, hoping that they outweigh the bad. But healing taught me something very serious. A man can be good for you, but still not be emotionally safe for your children. And I had to learn that the hard way. There were moments where him and members of his family would say horrible things about my children. His sister once said my kids would end up in care, all because I exposed him for cheating on me with a 19-year-old. And instead of him protecting my children or changing that behaviour, it became, oh, but it weren't me. Oh, but I'll never think like that. Oh, but that's them. That's not me. And this is how manipulation starts. Because when somebody comforts you after disrespecting you, you slowly start to question your own standards. And one day during an argument, this same man turned around and told me that one of my children are spiritually tapped. And when I later asked him why would he even say something like that about a child, he admitted he only said it because he knew it would hurt me. And honestly, that moment changed something in me. Because healing teaches you that some people don't attack you directly, they attack you through the thing you love the most. And as mothers, we need to stop normalizing that. Even his own mother once said, you don't know what blood those children have running through them. And I remember sitting there asking myself, why am I still here? Why am I still trying to see good in people that are comfortable in speaking darkness over my children? But the truth is, manipulation is scary. Especially when somebody has good qualities, especially when somebody knows how to apologize, and especially when they know how to make you feel loved after they've hurt you. And I think one of the hardest parts about healing is accepting that somebody can have good sides but still not be safe for your life. Two things can exist at once. And my biggest lesson in all of this is, as women, we need to stop ignoring red flags just because we see the potential. Because the first time somebody dishonors your children, believe them. Healing taught me that discernment is not bitterness, it's protection.
You guys want to hear the many red flags I just blatantly ignored in my previous relationship that was super bad? First one, right off the bat, never a good sign when he's like, just letting you know, all my exes, crazy. Every single one of them, batshit insane. The crazy ones just like me. Yeah, never a good sign, because there's one common denominator there. Anywho, number two, we'll go with second date. I pop into his apartment for a second for some reason. Oh, it was to see his dogs. I wanted to meet his dog. And I go in there and he's like, I didn't expect you to be coming up in here, so like, sorry, it's like super fucking messy or whatever. And I'm thinking like, it can't be too terrible. When I opened those doors, it smelled like dog shit, duty, butt cheeks, booty ass. It was really bad. Just, it looked like Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Tortilla. Food, it was garbage, it was upside down, it was condom wrappers. Number three, condom wrappers in the couch cushions. Condom wrappers in the couch cushions. And then, you know, for some reason, whatever reason, I overlooked that. we're officially dating at this point. I'm gonna go to number 4 here. One day I decided, well, he was at work because I would stay over for like a week or so at a time before we moved in together. And one day I decided I was gonna surprise him when he came home from work because he went into the office that day. I was gonna clean his apartment. And I did the dishes. Those dishes did not move. They only grew since I started dating him. Worm-like creatures of unspecified origin in the bottom of the sink. Goo. Goo that I believe at one point was some kind of food. Stinky, awful, gross, gagged. And that's not even to mention the roaches. Next. Okay, so he had number 5, he had a room in his house that I wasn't allowed to go in, and if I like even cracked the door, he'd be like, hey, don't go in there. On this day that I'm cleaning his apartment and he's not there, I'm like, I gotta know what's in that room. I gotta know what's in that room. So I go in there, and guess what, girlies? That's his dog's pee-pee shit room. Carpeted room with its own bathroom and everything. It's like an actual like whole half of the apartment I wasn't allowed to go into, and that's because his dogs would piss and shit on the floor in there, and he also shat in there, not on the floor. He wasn't a complete gorilla of a man, because like I tiptoed my way in there, like avoiding the fucking landmines on the ground, and I looked in the bathroom and that toilet was an ungodly color of yellow. And it looked like shit Casso, like poop Casso up in there. Like just, you know how on some culinary dishes they like will do that little streak around the food with some kind of sauce? That was the whole bowl. It was really... Okay, number 6. I also discovered on that same day upwards of like 30 full handles of tequila. Well, they weren't full, they were completely empty, but it was like whole handles of tequila, and he was like, I like to keep them, because it's like, I did that. You sure did, buddy. You sure did. Okay, moving on. Number 7. Number 7. No, you know what? No, number 7 is that I met him on Facebook dating. Facebook dating because just Tinder and all those other apps, like a couple girls on there didn't like me and they blocked me, and so I got banned from using the app. Stupid. Second relationship in my life. And so I was like, oh my god, he's definitely telling the truth. This poor boy's obviously been through so much to be living this way and to be allowing this to happen to him and to be an alcoholic and all this shit. So I was like, yeah, your girlfriends are crazy, and really evil girls in the world did make you get banned from every single dating app except for Facebook dating, which I got on as a joke, and then I saw a hot guy, which was him, unfortunately. You know, I was like, at this point I'm willing to accept anything. I haven't lived. Okay, so number 8 is apparently I'm just not bisexual. Doesn't exist. Because I told him, I was like, yeah, I'm bisexual, and he went, no, you're not. And I was like, I guess I'm not. You know what? I guess I'm not. We're not gonna get into the darker stuff. I will quickly say, you know, got drunk, choked me, and then denied it, pushed me into coffee tables, took a piss in, you know what? No. Number 9 got shit-faced one night, came into our bedroom, into the closet, because at this point we're living together, and just fucking all over the bottom of the fucking closet. All over the bottom of the closet. And I bolt up out of bed because I went to bed earlier because he was being a dickhead to me and I didn't want to be around him, so I just went to bed. I'm like shaking because I'm like, why did I deal with this? Hello? Anyways, I bolt up out of bed and I'm like, what are you doing? And he goes, and this is kind of funny, and it's still awful and disgusting that he did this, but he went, I'm taking a pee. And I went, you sure are, aren't you? Where are you doing that right now? Are you sure about that? And so while he's actually actively pissing, I'm like, hey, you're pissing in our closet right now. And he goes, no, I'm fucking not, Katie. No, I'm not. What the fuck are you talking about? The levels of gaslighting. The levels of gaslighting. Anyway, there's so much other shit that happened, but do not go on Facebook dating. And if a beautiful man shows even one red flag, get out of there. He's stacked. Yeah, if you want to know more, feel free to ask me. I'll talk more about it, but
okay, I am getting ready for an event, and I thought I would do a quick list of red flags in dating that I ignored, that I experienced, saw it, ignored it. Okay, first one is love bombing. Yes, we've all had that, where they're way too interested, way too fast, and there's no way. You don't know them well enough yet. There was one guy I dated that was only really trying to make plans like late at night. I mean, we'd go to like nice dinners and stuff, but it would be very late. Almost kind of like he was hiding me. Talking about an ex. I'm all for being honest and, maybe 2-3 dates in to get into like the past relationships, how have those been going? But if they're talking about an ex a lot, I've had a couple guys now where on first dates, they're talking about their ex. One guy was like name dropping, and he would be like, yeah, and then Cassandra, and I'm like, I feel like you need to talk to Cassandra. It doesn't sound like you're over this. This might be a little critical, but picking a really popular date spot where you kind of know that they didn't really put any effort into finding the place. If they're finding a place for you, one, they should always be making the plans. You should not plan a first date or even a second. I'm a firm believer of that. But if they're just picking the most low effort, like, oh, this place is by me and you, fresh out of a breakup, and by fresh, I'm like anywhere in the 6-month mark. After 6 months, okay, maybe. But if it's a serious relationship and they haven't had like time to be single and now they're dating, there was one guy that just like name dropped a lot. He was like friends with some NBA players. I don't even think he was friends with them. He hung out with some NBA players and played pickup with them, whatever. This man was like name dropping. Oh, Rihanna was trying to set me up with her cousin, but on our second date. I mean, on no date, I mean, maybe like way later down, you can tell me those cool stories, whatever. But it was just like, oh, this guy just really wants to be seen and feel important, and yikes. This one, God help me, I don't know what I was thinking. On the first date, this man said, yeah, the people that I've been in relationships with before have told me that I'm really hard to read and I'm really hard to get close to. Guess who took that as a challenge? And guess who just ended that situationship?
Hi, this is Tanya. I had a video go kind of crazy. It's still going crazy about me and getting a divorce. I was eating meatballs alone in an IKEA before and after. Go back and watch it. It's not that big of a deal. So I've gotten a lot of questions about like what red flags I saw, because I did see red flags at the beginning of our marriage, and there's one key one that I will never ever forget. When we got married and the maid of honor was giving her speech, and then the groomsman or the best man was giving his speech, he was saying how nice, like all these really nice things about my ex-husband. My ex-husband did not look at me one time. In that moment, he never looked at me. And this was a repeat pattern that I would see throughout the rest of our relationship. Really and truly, my ex-husband did not like attention to not be put on him. So if it was put on me, then he got really uncomfortable. And sometimes he would sabotage situations where I was in the forefront. He would be late to things. He would say he had to work. He would be mean. In one instance, I had an art show in Kansas, and he was like really, really mean and rude to everybody that was helping, and he was not there for it. And when I got back from the show, he didn't ask me about it. It was always like this. So as I grew into the woman that I am today and had more spotlight shown on me, the more he tried to dim it. That was a red flag that I just wish that I would not have ignored.
Okay, so if you have not seen my pinned post, go check it out so you can kind of understand what I'm talking about in this video. In that video, I asked a question. The question was, how far into your marriage did you know that your spouse was not your person, and how much longer after that realization did you stay? And in that video, or on that video, I had a lot of people asking me what were the signs, because I mentioned that the signs were there prior to me marrying him. I take full accountability. They were there, because they're always there when we're aligning with the wrong person, right? But yeah, people wanted to know what were the signs, so let's talk about the signs. Okay, so first off, mind you, all of this was in within the first 3 months, okay? Like, the signs are there really fast, really soon. So we really have the ability to not waste our own time, like we really do. First off, this one is gonna be kind of like a 2-for-1. He was very disrespectful to his mother. They did not have a great relationship. Whatever childhood trauma stuff that he had dealt with her, that was spilling over into adulthood. And I would listen to him talk to her on the phone, and he would just be very disrespectful. I remember one of the first conversations I heard him have with her on the phone, and when he got off the phone, I was like, why are you talking to her like that? That was your mom on the phone? And he was like, yeah. And I was just like, that was a lot. Like, you were very disrespectful. Like, you need to chill out, And he was just like, no, you don't understand. She's da da da. She always in my business, and she always asking questions. And so, again, I still double down on that's still your mama. Like, you need to respect her. But this would happen a lot, where I would listen to him have conversations with her, and he would just be very disrespectful. And it would make me cringe, and I would always, tell him, like, you gotta chill. Like, that's too much. That's too much. But again, somehow I found a way to rationalize that away in my mind that wouldn't, pour onto our relationship, because, yeah, he's dealing with whatever stuff with her. Again, did not at all agree with how he was talking to her, but I didn't think at that time it was going to affect our relationship. Boy, was I wrong. A man who disrespects his mom is going to be a problem for you. Eventually, that man was projecting all his hate and anger from his mama, or towards his mama. It is more so after marriage. It was like, I got the wrath of all of that. You know what I mean? So yeah, if a man does not love, respect his mother, and he treats her terrible, don't. I would never be with a man who does not have a good relationship with his mom. I would actually prefer a mama's boy. I know the mama's boys get a bad rap. Baby, send me a mama's boy. Maybe. Mind you, I'm defending this woman, right? And whole time, she don't even like me. She didn't like me simply because I'm not from their cultural background. So this was an intercultural relationship. I am not going to mention what his ethnicity is, what culture, because this is not a reflection of that cultural background. So we're just going to leave that out. But just know that his mom preferred him to be with a woman from their culture. And so because I'm not from their culture, I'm just a African-American girl from upstate New York. She wasn't fond of me. It was just like, no. And he would tell me that she would say, like, why you can't just find a so-and-so girl? Again, a girl from their culture. Yeah, so it was a little racism involved. But she made it very clear throughout our marriage that she did not mess with me. She was very dismissive. This woman would come to our house and think that she was gonna come in my house and not speak to me. And he wouldn't stand up for me, even though he had an issue with her, and he would cuss her out, or not cuss her out, but he would go off on her about his personal issues with her. He would let her disrespect me. So now I'm in a marriage with a man who's disrespecting me. He's disrespecting his mama, and his mama disrespecting me. Y'all see that? Absolutely not. I'm going too far because we're talking about, I'm getting into the marriage. Let me back up. This was within 3 months of dating, and like just her finding out that he's dating a black girl or African American girl, and his mom just not feeling it. So yeah, he was disrespectful to his mom, and his mom didn't like me simply because I wasn't a part of their cultural background. The other like huge red flag was once we finally moved in together, he would leave the house first thing in the morning, like way earlier than me. And he would leave my front door open while I'm in the house sleep, okay? I would be asleep and he would forget, because he was rushing, to close and lock the front door. Mind you, at this time, I already had a child. I had an 8-year-old when I met him. So me and my 8-year-old we're in our house sleep. He's in his room and I'm in a whole nother room. We're asleep and I don't know that my front door is ajar because the man that I live with forgot to close it. And I'll never forget the first time that he did that, I heard clear as day, he is not a protector. He does not have the capacity to protect and cover you and your child. And, you know, I confronted him about it. And of course it was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was rushing that morning. I was running late. But that became a theme. When I tell you this will happen at least 3 times a year. And let me tell you something. 3 times a year may not sound like a lot depending on what you're talking about. When you're talking about leaving your front door open while your family is in the house sleep, that's a lot. 1 time is a lot. This happened like numerous times. Like when I say like literally at least 2 to 3 times a year, this will be a thing. And I will start hooting and hollering and yelling, you're leaving us wide open for anything that happened to us. So you don't have any type of, there's nothing in you that is like, let me make sure I lock the house up and make sure my family is safe. That doesn't come to you naturally, huh? Like there's a moment where you will just walk out and like, not just leave the door unlocked, but like wouldn't even fully close the door. Like you're literally leaving me and my child wide open for something to happen to us, for somebody to walk in and I'm asleep. So I'm off guard. You know what I mean? So that was a huge red flag. And when I tell you during the marriage, this man was not a protector, I was in a marriage where there was no covering. And that was one of the first signs where he showed me he did not have the capacity to protect or cover us, okay? Then the other one, which was a huge deal for me. So I had just moved into a new apartment 2 months prior to meeting him. And when I got this, I wanted this apartment so bad. And it wasn't like this. This was when we were still like in upstate New York. And so finally got into the apartment I had been wanting. And when I moved into my apartment, I was just like settling in. And I had like the just utmost peace finally. I was just like at peace finally because I had a rough year prior to that. And so I was just like, oh, just the most optimal peace I was experiencing during those 2 months. When I met this man 2 months later, he came and he disrupted my peace. When he came into my life, all hell broke loose. He came with so much drama. He was so messy, so much chaos. He was just a really messy boy, very messy, you know, and he brought just so much drama and mess into my life. And so throughout the years, when things would happen and we get into arguments, that was something I would always say. I would say, you literally came into my life and stole my peace, and I have not gotten it back since. And I always think about that and just reminisce like those first 2 months in my place. Like I just remember just my morning routines. Like I was just floating. I had, my peace. And I don't think I realized how important it was then to hold on to that peace. Now, listen, if you're not coming with peace and adding peace, no. But that man came in and disrupted my peace. There is no universe where a man who comes in and steals your peace is your husband. And I should have knew better. Go to part 2 for the other signs.
Come to the front. Come on. These are signs that I ignored in my narcissistic relationship that I'll never do again. Part 1. Number 1, deleting all of my Instagram photos in bikinis or anything slightly sexy had to go. It made him really insecure. But he still got to follow like IG models and his ex. But then I ended up just deleting it altogether because what's the point of having it at that point? Number 2, letting his mom disrespect me. And then his excuse would be, that's just how she is. Why are you mad? Number 3, he would intentionally start an argument right before a special occasion or anywhere that we had to be at just so he didn't have to show up. Number 4, constantly being worried about what I was wearing and being prepared to change at any moment if it made him insecure. That one was so annoying. I hated that. Number 5, I wasn't allowed to hang out with my girlfriends or have girls' night or do anything without him because he was afraid I was going to cheat on him. Isn't that funny how that works? Because he was a cheater. Funny, not funny, but. Number 6, not knowing who's cooking dinner, me or his mom. And when I thought I was cooking dinner, she would tell me to stay out of the kitchen. And if I wanted to be in the kitchen, I had to wash the dishes, which I end up doing anyway, so. Number 7, allowing him to sleep with his phone underneath the pillow and taking it in every single room and guarding it with his life. Well, we know why now, but yeah, never again. Number 8, this is a good one. Cooking and cleaning and paying half the bills, including all the remodeling that we did in our home, just to be told that I'm still not doing enough. I have no words. Like, what? What kind of man are you? And number 10, my favorite one, which led us here. Multiple women reaching out to me, telling me and showing me proof that he was cheating on me, just for him to be like, they're obviously lying because they want me and they're jealous of what we have. Don't believe them. I made us look stupid for the both of us, so just never again.
Come make up with me whilst I talk about the red flags that show that you're in a bad relationship. In some relationships, you have to say yes to everything, because if you say no, your partner is going to be very, very, very angry, and that is a red flag, right? Some people, they are scared to say no to sex. No, I can't help you, give you money. No, I can't do that. They are scared to express themselves, and that's a red flag. So if you can't say no to your partner, that's a bad relationship, because being an adult, you have the right to say yes or no. So if you making a decision and having an opinion makes your partner very angry at you, it's a red flag. You should run away. Number 2 is if you have to walk on eggshells around your partner. Some people are so scared of their partners, they cannot express themselves. So if you find yourself being unable to talk, or you're walking on eggshells, you can't say anything because you don't want to offend your partner, that's a huge red flag. So you should pack your bags and leave such a relationship. Number 3 is if your partner is not your biggest hype man or hype woman, meaning that they congratulate you, they are happy for you. If they are not always happy for you, if they're not your biggest cheerleader, that's a red flag. You should leave such a relationship. Your partner should be the one that encourages you the most. Your partner should encourage you more than your friends. So if your partner is not cheering you on, wishing you good, that's a red flag. Number 4 is if your partner always uses abusive and insultive words when you're arguing. No one, and I mean no one, has the right to insult you, especially not your partner. So if you're always arguing with your partner and you see them using words like you're so stupid, you're so foolish, you're an idiot, stuff like that, that is a huge red flag, because verbal abuse is a step towards other forms of abuse. So if you find yourself being verbally insulted, big red flag. You should pack your bags and leave. Disclaimer, I'm not a makeup artist, I'm a therapist, so if my makeup isn't so perfect, please excuse me. Number 5 on the red flags, if your partner always defends other people aside from you, if your partner always defends their friends, their family, or anyone, and they don't defend you, if they're always very defensive of others more than they are defensive of you, it's a huge red flag. Such a person will throw you under the bus. Leave that relationship. Number 6, I think I've lost count at this point, but I think I'm at number 6. Number 6, if your partner doesn't voluntarily want to help you achieve your goals, that's a red flag. The whole point of having a partner is for them to help you achieve your goals. So if your partner doesn't do that for you, help you, assist you in some ways towards your life goals, big red flag. Because why is that your partner? Why is this person in your life if they're not going to help you? Number 8, if your partner raises their voice at you and screams at you, big red flag. You should never be with anyone that screams at you, raises their voice at you, or uses a rude tone to speak to you. Why are you being with someone that can shout at you? Even strangers don't even shout at you, and your boyfriend or girlfriend is shouting at you. That is not good. Leave that relationship if your partner is comfortable to scream at you. Very bad. Number 9, if your partner never takes accountability of their mistakes and they always have to blame you. Some people, when they hurt you, they're like, oh, you're the reason why I hurt you, or you're the reason why I insulted you, you're the reason why I act this way, babe. That's a red flag. You should leave. Everyone should be capable of taking accountability and saying sorry. If your partner is unable to say sorry and unable to take accountability without blaming you, big red flag. You should leave. Number 10, I think, if your partner doesn't check in on you emotionally to see how you're doing emotionally, like, asking you if you're happy, if you're okay emotionally, are you sad? If your partner doesn't care for you emotionally, big red flag. Because it is your partner's 100% responsibility to make sure that you're okay emotionally. This is why a lot of people are sad, because their partners are not emotionally available. So emotional availability is very key. So if your partner is not emotionally available, big red flag. You should leave the relationship. Number 12, I think this one goes without saying. If your partner cheats on you, pack your bags, pack your luggages, and leave. This is the biggest red flag. The biggest of them all is cheating. If cheating has ever occurred, it's a big red flag. If you choose to forgive them, I'm telling you, you're making a mistake. Because someone that cheats once will cheat on you again. You're supposed to be the apple of your partner's eyes. So if they cheat on you, it means you're not their apple. So why are you there? Number 12, number 12, if your partner is always very negative, right? Your partner, you tell him or her about a plan, and all they have to say about that plan is negative stuff. If your partner is always very pessimistic and negative, big red flag. Leave such a person. You cannot excel around negative people. Your partner should be very positive, very encouraging. If he's negative or if she's negative, leave. Number 14, red flag. If there are no future plans existing in your relationship, it's a big red flag. Your relationship is not heading anywhere. If there are no goals, no pledge, no plans of the future, if there is no direction. Some people are just in relationships, no goal, no plan, no direction. You're just there, just wasting your time. It's a big red flag. A goal should be there. Leave a relationship if there is no goal. Number 17, I think I'm making the numbers up at this time. If your partner does not remember important dates like anniversaries, birthdays, just major remarkable dates in your relationship, it's a red flag. For this red flag, you shouldn't really leave them, but it's a red flag. They should remember everything important about you. Your partner is someone that should know all the important dates. Your birthday, the day that was so remarkable in your life. It's a red flag if they are not that attentive. But don't leave them. This one can be corrected, but it's a red flag. Number 18, if your partner has a lot of friends from the opposite sex, like a guy having so many friends that are girls or a girl having so many friends that are boys, that's the big red flag. Why do you need so many friends? Your partner should be your best friend, your everything, right? So I'm not saying you shouldn't have friends, but there are some people that just have an excess of the opposite sex as a friend, and that's a red flag. So if you are in a relationship where you're not like the major friend and your partner has a lot of friends, watch out. That's a red flag. Number 19, if you have to remind your partner of everything to do for you, big red flag. I mean, someone should be aware of how to treat you. You don't have to remind them. So if you find yourself having to remind them of everything, do this for me, they never use their brains to come up with things to do without you having to remind them, it's a big red flag. Finally, if your partner has to threaten you with a breakup every time you guys have an issue, that is a big red flag. So if there are any other red flags you can think of, you can leave them on my comments, and these ones that I've mentioned are the ones that you should look out for in your relationship. Okay, you can start amending them, or you can leave the relationship if there's so much. Okay, my makeup is done. You can also rate how well I did. Remember, I'm not a makeup artist, I'm a therapist, but I try to do makeup sometimes. This is my final look.
I had such an interesting experience with men and manipulation yesterday that I would love to share with you, because it was so eye-opening. Because usually men do this in like a span of weeks, but this man did it in a span of hours, which is so stupid because it was so easy to clock, but it's so eye-opening, right? I went to a stand-up comedy show. I actually had two of the comedians, really handsome men, interested in me, right? The first one was a gentleman in a suit, handsome. After the show, he sat down with me. He said, like, what did you think of the show? He talked about himself a little bit. He asked about me and what I do and showed genuine interest. And then he said, I actually haven't eaten all day, so I'm gonna go out and get some food. Enjoy your night. He left. Good. Classy. So the other comedian comes up, sit down at the table, and we talk for hours. It was my friend, someone else from the comedy club who was there, the comedian, and myself. We talked for hours, and one of the topics was dating. And I say, like, I don't want to cross my own boundaries anymore. Like, I don't do one-night stands. It's all or nothing for me. I'm not Disneyland, you know? So we talk about that. And he's like, yeah, I think it's so weird that men always assume that when a woman is interested, it is for something short term. Like, it would make more sense that she's interested long term. And I was like, I fully agree with you. So basically he was listening to what I said, and he was very manipulative, saying things that he knew I would agree with. And we start talking more, and he keeps looking in my eyes for longer, accidentally touch hands, and he says, I think you're really cute. And like stuff like that, you know? This dumbass, as the evening was getting to an end, he pulls out his phone and has a notes app in it, and it says, so am I coming home with you tonight? And I'm like, you really didn't listen to a word I said, did you? You buffoon. So I ignore it, right? I said, I know what you're doing. You're not quite subtle about it. And I ignore him for the rest. And then, like, as the evening comes to an end, he's like, oh man, I forgot to book a hotel. What do you think is gonna happen? Like, oh yeah, come over with me. I don't know who the fuck you are. I've seen you live once, but come stay with me. Even though I'm never gonna see you again because you travel. Like, who the fuck do you think I am? That is crazy. Okay, so anyway, I'm like, oh, that's too bad. I said, you know, it's kind of weird for a comedian to travel the world and not book a hotel in advance, isn't it? Anyway, stupid. I hate when people think I'm that easy or that easily manipulated. That is so insulting. It really is. And then he was like, it's fine. I'll find a place to stay. I'll figure out a solution. I'm like, yeah, it's a you problem. It's not my fault. So then he's like, do you want me to walk you to your car? And in my head, I was like, I feel safer by myself, but okay, let's do it, whatever. And my friend comes along, and then she was gonna walk home. And so he starts sort of holding me and stuff, and he gave me his jacket because he was cold. Very cute, very romantic. But I don't know who you are, so what are we doing? I know you're here for a good time, not a long time, because you're literally not gonna be here tomorrow. So what are you trying to do? My friend clocks this and starts acting like she's drunk off her ass, like kind of stumbling, like, oh, it's actually hitting me hard. I love when women do this. Like, clock that something is off and do whatever weird shit they need to do to protect each other. So I was like, oh my God, do you need me to take you home? I will drive you. It's okay. She was like, that would be nice. And then he was like, okay, so do we drop your friend off and then I come with you? I'm like, no. Oh, but I'm not like I'm not like those other men. Like, we don't have to do anything. We can just cuddle. I'm like, I have to work tomorrow. No thanks. It is so insulting. And then he was like, yeah, but I just wish we could talk longer. Like, I'm sorry, when I left, bro didn't message me. So how much did you really want to talk? You absolute buffoon. Like, really trying to sleep with me so you don't have to pay for a hotel? Fuck off.